the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
And welcome back, trackside. Once again, race fans here to the Turn 3 Racing Network Sunday night action. As always, the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Company ARC Menards K&N Series hits the high banks of Texas No Limits, and I've got my good buddy Cody right here in the booth with me. Cody, how you doing? How you feeling here tonight?
Doing good, Dave. Ready for another exciting race here in the Light Electric Company ARC Menards NEXTGEN K&N Series. Tonight, the first of the final 2 races of the season. Points battles other than the very top of the point standings. Going to be an exciting finish. But I tell you what, Dave, it's been all about this year's top runner, Katie Osmond.
Yeah, Osmond has been very consistent all throughout the season. If you look through the top 5, top 10 stats so far this season, nobody can touch him. 13 top 5s, 15 top 10s, And I think the closest person back on the top 10s is Brian Littleton, and he's only got 12 top 10s. So that just lets you know how consistent and how on point Osmond and his crew have been all season long. You mentioned the point standings, so we'll go ahead and throw up the official point standings coming into tonight's race. There you have it right there. Osmond out of Blackhawk Motorsports. He's already got the championship in hand. These last two races just maybe just pile the points on there. Cody Lance Yancey right there in second. Brian Mescal Jr., Brandon Medford, Brian Littleton. Those four drivers still battling it out for, the best of the rest, so to speak.
Yeah, most definitely. You look at second, third, and fourth. That battle there for third and fourth, especially Brian Mescal Jr. He's 10 points back of Lance Yancey coming into tonight, so that could very well change by the end of the evening. And then Brandon Medford in fourth place in the points. He's only 2 points back of Brian Mescal Jr., and then it's only 1 point back to Brian Littleton. So second, third, fourth, and fifth could totally change up by the time we leave Texas here this evening.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of other spots throughout the point standings still up for grabs. You can still see close battles back here, 14th, 15th, 16th. Hetrick, Damon Cox, and Derek Robinson right there still battling it out. Gordon Larson Jr. right there in 13th, just sitting 1 point ahead of that 48 of Hetrick. So still a lot on the line for a lot of these different drivers before they wind it on down, take a brief moment, take a breather, and then we'll get set to kick things off. Special event race. Keep your eyes peeled, race fans, here to the Turn 3 Racing Network for the upcoming event, the Next Gen Christmas Rumble, gonna go off December 6th. So keep your eyes peeled for that, Cody. That is going to be a broadcast and a race for the ages. I can assure you that. Some special things in the making for that. Still not gonna let all the goodies out the bag, so to speak, but 2.5 minutes it looks like remaining here in happy hour. You got your eye on anybody out there?
Yeah, I was sitting here watching the scoring chart go around as drivers are out there, and Kendall Leveron atop of the board right now, but I'm watching Thomas Light. I was watching him just a few moments ago. He's rocking a pretty special paint scheme this evening. Of course, coming in, it's the Veterans Day Appreciation 100 presented by Blackhawk Motorsports. And the Light Electric Company 98 normally is carrying the colors of the Marine Corps. Of course, they had a birthday this past week. Loving the red, white, and the blue on Thomas Light's 98 this weekend.
Yeah, that pretty special paint scheme, pretty special deal there for Thomas Light, driver of the 98 machine. There you see that Marines paint scheme on the board with that 98. And Thomas, the sole sponsor, I don't want to say sole sponsor, but the title sponsor here in the RFC Next Gen Light Electric Company ARCA Menards K&N Series, and coming on board for the upcoming Xfinity season here later on in 2021. So big shout out to Thomas and all he does, and everything going on back there, and everything that Light Electric Company brings to the Next Gen Racing Series here on the iRacing.com platform. And Cody, about 60 seconds remaining, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to pull Leveron off the top of the speed charts. Brian Snare, he's trying to out there in that 45, but still just about 200ths off, and I just don't know where he can pick that time up from.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive lap by Kendall Leveron, a 30.07, a 30.07. Pretty quick, of course, fast enough to be on top, of course, that's impressive. But then there are three 31.0s, 30.10s, I guess you could say. That is Steve Baker, Katie Osmond, and Troy Radford. So a very fast field. I look down the list. 26 of our 28 entries right now are in the 30-second range. So that'll tell you how competitive this is going to be.
Yeah, this is going to be a track where, especially early on in the runs, drivers going to be all over each other. It's somewhat of pack racing to some extent there for quite a while until we get some good wear on the tires, and things will slowly broaden out. But, cautions bring cautions, and when the field gets grouped up, you got to grab all you can get. So look for maybe turn 2 to be a trouble spot here on the restarts, and maybe possibly on the initial start of the race as the red flag flies here in happy hour. Looks like Gordon Larson Jr. is going to take that top spot in happy hour. Things going to get set to switch on over to qualifying. So let's see who jumps out there on track, who thinks they've got the lucky hand here at Texas No Limits Man, I tell you what, let's see. Who you want to go out there with there, Cody?
I think we're going to jump out there with Troy Radford. Looks like he was real quick to get on the racetrack. We'll see what he can do right off the bat.
All right, well, there you see it. There you have it. That 49 making his way off of pit road, still down on the apron, waiting to cross onto the blend line. Now back onto the back stretch. We'll wait to throw up the qualifying tree on the left-hand side of the screen for you. Let some of these drivers put down some time lap. Brandon Medford, Roy Hyde, Travis Smith, Katie Osmond, Steve Baker, Jimmy Hetrick, and Derek Robinson all out on track. Brian Mescal Jr., Tyler Hilton also on track. Brian Snare and Travis Arthur.
Yeah, Dave, and I was in the garage a few moments ago, and Roy Hyde said, hey, let Dave know I've got a special lap for him tonight. Oh, Troy Radford gets way loose off of turn 2, right in front of that big jumbo screen going down the back straightaway.
Yeah, I was going to say a little bit of a moment there for Radford as he was making his way off of 2. Car got a little bit sideways off of turn 4, looking nice and smooth. Going to come across the stripe this time by. Where's he going to shake out? Going to go 7th on the speed charts. Not quite the lap that 49 was looking for. Brian Snare, quick time right now, 30-25, being matched by Jimmy Hetrick in the 48. Now Travis Smith going top of the speed charts. We'll take a look back here in just a few moments at a few of the other drivers. 33 of Brian Mescal Jr. knocking on the door to the top 5 here in qualifying with about a minute and 50 seconds here into qualifying. Track very busy.
Yeah, and look at that. Brian Snare just matched his 30-10 he put in happy hour. Dave, we talked about this 45 car throughout the year, how impressive he'd been. Hasn't been able to get the finishes I think he's deserved, but you take a look, he is atop of the board right now with a 30-10 ahead of our points leader, Katie Osmond, as off of turn 4, Snare is going to pull it in. So I believe that is his qualifying run. Great effort.
Yeah, that's going to be his qualifying run, and there you see it starting his first time lap. The good old backwards lap by the 00 of Roy Hyde. There you see him right now heading down into turn 1. So it's going to be a while for him. So we'll take a look around the track, see who else is out there. Looks like Gordon Larson Jr. in the 01 out there on his second time lap, first time lap, 8th on the board for that 01 machine. And looks like going to shut it down after getting a little squirrely there into 3 and 4. So we'll jump back now with the 57 of Damon Cox.
Yeah, taking a look at Damon Cox. He was quick in practice. I'd like to see a really good run out of the Muddy Water Racing number 57. Of course, the Iron Man of the series. He has the most starts in the RFC NEXTGEN series alone coming into this race. And the driver out of Lynchburg, Virginia, trying to put a fast time down, Dave. We've talked about him throughout the year. Hasn't really had the best of years as far as on the track coming into this weekend. But we'll see what he can do. Comes in 15th in points as he crosses the line for his first lap.
Yeah, and Damon Cox, one of the journeymen here in the NEXTGEN series, if we could call him that, not meaning to poke fun at him or call him old by any means. He is old, but not to say he's old or anything, but been here a long time. A lot of the drivers know him, and he's a big helping hand to a lot of the newcomers here in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Company ARCA Menards K&N Series. So Damon Cox, very familiar to a lot of the drivers out there. And as you said, just this season, just not quite what he would like it to have been. But he has been on the horn with me and letting me know that he is looking forward to the Xfinity season next season in 2021. So keep an eye out for that 57. Not just tonight, but next season, as Dustin German brings his 52 machine across the stripe. Let's see, he's going to slot in the 18th position, and nobody still having anything for Brian Snare at the top of the speed chart.
No, and talk about Dustin German. He actually participates in one of our other series we have here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, the RFC Throwback Series. Really good at those classic cars. Good to see him making the transition. And I will say this, Dave, good to see him in one of those throwback Mark Martin-style paint schemes. As German comes across the board, he'll jump up to 16th quickest. He goes 30-57, 30-57, 16th quickest. But, Dave, love the paint schemes we get from time to time, especially the throwback colors.
Yeah, and I can assure you another driver that's got to be pretty happy about the paint scheme that Dustin German is sporting, and that's Eric Blount in that 6 machine. Usually Eric sporting some of the Mark Martin Valvoline paint scheme, so maybe Eric and him getting together, and we'll see who has the Valvoline machine out there tonight at Texas, as looks like we may have all the drivers that want their qualifying laps in. Looks like we may have got all of those drivers done and out the way.
Yeah, and that's about typical. We usually get about halfway or just under halfway with all of our competitors. Right now, 19 drivers have took time. Looks like there may be about 28 in the garage. So pretty much a little over halfway. That's about where we've been all season long. So Brian Snare right now looking like he's going to hold down the fort, and that would be pretty impressive because this will be his first pole of the 2020 season. So a really good jump, maybe some good motivation for that 45 Victory Junction machine.
Yeah, and as we sit here and we wait to see if anybody else is going to go out on track, we mentioned that Katie Osmond, he's pretty much walked away with not pretty much, but has walked away with the season championship already. But the team championship still very much, up for grabs. Dirty Air Racing sitting 23 points in front of Falcon Motorsports and Blackhawk right there, just 49 points behind Dirty Air. So it's really a three-team battle going on here for the team supremacy. So look for these next two races to really have more of a team feel, if you will. We may see some of these drivers grouped up a little bit more than usual, trying to help each other out and gain as much team points as we can as we move through the final races.
Yeah, and they have pretty much, they being Dirty Air Racing and Falcon Motorsports, they have pretty much rotated all year as far as who gets the top spot in the team standings. And Blackhawk Motorsports, has just simply closed in. Mike Masongill, of course, being the owner of that. Of course, he does have the points leader, Katie Osmond. That's a big help,
Yeah, absolutely a big help when you got the points champion or the season champion. We don't have to call him the points champion. He is the season champion on your team. Always good because, well, he's going to have the most points out of anybody out there in the field. So definitely good thing to have him having your back. With that being said, looks like all the drivers that wanted to qualify have. So we're going to step away for a brief commercial break, get set to go down trackside for the national anthem, then fire things off for tonight's Veterans Appreciation Day 100 here from Texas Motor Speedway. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Jets flying over, you know what that means, race fans. It's time to go back green flag racing here in the RFC Next Gen ARCA Menards K&N Series, presented to you by Light Electric Company. Man, I tell you what, Cody, this is going to be a fast, furious, no pun intended. It's going to be a great race for sure. Texas, always one of those amazing races. And with that being said, field starting to roll off. So we'll roll through your starting lineup here tonight. Walking away with the pole inside row number 1, the 45 of Brian Snare, just to his outside, your season champion, KD Osmond. Row number 2, the 9 of Travis Smith, followed by the 49 of Troy Radford. Row number 3, Jimmy Hetrick and Steve Baker. Row number 4, the 83 of Brandon Medford, and the 01 of Gordon Larson Jr. And rounding out your top 5, the 22 of Cody Terry and the 82 of Tyler Hilton.
Inside of row number 6, it'll be the 28 of Zachary Taylor. To his outside, the 98 of Thomas Light. Inside of row number 7, it'll be the 33 of Brian Mescal Jr. To his outside, the Iron Man, Damon Cox to the 57. Inside of row number 8, it is the Derek Robinson machine, and to his outside, it will be Dustin German in the 52. Rolling off 17th in the number 6, it'll be Eric Blunt. To his outside, the 86 of Travis Arthur. Inside of row number 10, it'll be the 00 of Roy Hine. To outside of him, the 72 of Jeffrey Vandervoort.
And starting in the 21st position, the 46 of Justin Walters, followed by the 34 of Doug Wasaki. 23rd, the 77 of Lance Yancey, the 4 of Michael Massengill. Right there, just behind him, Melvin Young, Ray Radford, Kendall Levron, Dustin Ping, and Mark Vyers round out your field here tonight for the Veterans Day Appreciation 100 for the RFC Next Gen Light Electric Company ARCA Menards K&N Series. And away we go. Green flag flies for the first time here tonight to the inside. Snare gets a good start, but Osmond right on the gas right there, side by side down into turn 1. Looks like the field well and clear into turn 1. No real incidents. We'll check back here with Jimmy Hetrick, Troy Radford. There's a little bit of a scrum going on with Gordon Larson Jr. just to their outside.
Yeah, Jimmy Hetrick on the bottom. Also, looks like Brandon Medford, Gordon Larson Jr. stuck to the outside. There you see Tyler Hilton in that black and blue 82 off of turn 4. It's going to be Brian Snare leading lap 1.
Lap 1 in the books, and looks like we've got a long train of cars down there trying to get on that very bottom lane here. After the track resurfaced, Cody, we've noticed these drivers trying to get as far down on what would have been the old track's apron, now utilizing every bit of track that they can. Cars a little bit set up just a little bit differently, and look for them to be quite a bit of a handful on the loose side very early, especially on those colder tires.
Seeing everybody get to the bottom right now except for Zachary Taylor. He's in the 12th spot. He's hung outside right under Brian Mescal Jr. Brian Mescal Jr. right there inside, right under the door panel of that 28 machine as they go down the back straightaway, and right behind them, the 52 of Dustin German.
Yeah, there's little battles just like this all over the racetrack. Just in front of them, Jimmy Hetrick, Gordon Larson Jr., Brandon Medford battling as well. This is a 4-5 car battle right here. And if anybody messes up, man, I tell you what, you open the door and you're going to let 3 or 4 cars through, and it is very early in the race to give up a lot of momentum as, big stack up there through the center of 1 and 2. As on the inside lane, that 98 had to back up just a little bit. That's going to open the door for Zachary Taylor on the outside, trying to make that high side work. Not going to be able to do it just yet. Still side by side through 3 and 4. Tyler Hilton just in front. Sliding right up in front of that 28 machine back across the stripe.
Yeah, Hilton just in front, literally. Zachary Taylor right there all over his bumper. As we mentioned in the opening, loving the colors that Thomas Light's got on that 98 machine this week. Dave, these restarts are going to be chaotic because everybody does want the bottom. Talking in the garage, everybody wants that bottom group, so they're going to be fighting to get there. And while everybody's kind of ganged up and together, they want to get as many positions as they can. As Dave, they're still 2 by 2 coming off of 4.
Still 2 by 2 coming off of 4 right here. The 98, the 82, Dustin German, Zachary Taylor, all battled right here, all embroiled in this battle right here. Brian Mescal Jr. right there as well in that 33 machine. There you can see him trying to hug that inside white solid line. Not really getting a good drive off there. Outside lane going to gain some ground. Mescal Jr. still hunting the bottom, still trying to find the speed down there, and it just, I don't know, Cody. It just doesn't look like that bottom is the place to be. Looks like you want to be running about middle of the track right now, or at least so far in this set of green flag run.
Yeah, and out front, Brian Snare had been running the bottom for the opening laps, but he moved up a couple of grooves that give Katie Osmond an opportunity to catch him, and Katie brought Travis Smith with him, and Smith right now, he's all over the back bumper of our points leader, Katie Osmond, off of turn 4.
Yeah, Travis Smith, one of those drivers that doesn't always make it to the track, but usually when he does, usually tends to make a splash in the race. There you see him, good qualifying effort on his part. Sitting right there, right where he qualified, still in the 3rd position, but knocking on the door of a top 2 now, as you already said, all over that rear bumper of the 88 of Osmond. So look for Smith to maybe go up here and try to steal a win away here from the rest of the regular season drivers.
Yeah, and we don't talk about Travis as much at these big tracks. He's one of the drivers that likes to focus on the short tracks. He's one of these short track aces, I do believe, we have in the series. We have a couple of those, including Travis Pryor, that runs from time to time. And, we're seeing him right now show a different side, being competitive in that number 9 Hooters car. But I tell you, there's a guy lurking right behind him in that 55, Steve Baker. He has been one of the drivers that has been consistent this year. Of course, he got everything started at Iowa with a win, and he got another win at North Wilkesboro. This guy's had a pretty good season as well, including Charlotte at the Roval just a few weeks ago.
Sorry, I was a little brain dead there for a minute, focusing in on that 49 of Troy Radford. Had a brief moment, gave up a position. Now slowly trying to close back in on that 55 of Steve Baker. And as I said there, Cody, sorry, I kind of spaced out there for a minute, just trying to scope in on what happened to Radford and see just how much ground he was regaining. And looks like he's pretty much gained everything he's lost.
Yeah, he's right there on the tail end. This is kind of the tale of 3 different groups. 1st through 5ths running together. Then you jump back to Gordon Larson Jr. He's leading a parade of cars that goes all the way back to the 12th spot. And then you have to go a ways back. You'll find Brian Mescal Jr. and Eric Blunt leading 13th and 14th. And they have Tyler Hilton in tow. So, yes, everybody's kind of spread out all over this Texas Motor Speedway as Brian Snare comes to put lap 12 on the board.
Yeah, and looking through the timing and scoring there, Cody, looks like we have a few drivers not being scored on the track right now. 27th, 28th, and 29th, Levron, Vyers, and Ping. All 3 of those drivers not showing any laps in the book, so not quite sure what happened. We'll have to get a pit reporter down there to the garage area, see what kind of happened, what took place and transpired there. Maybe a failing tech not being able to get out there on the track, but nonetheless back at the front of the field as Osmond still tries to chase down Snare and keep Smith behind him. Steve Baker, he's closed the gap. He's right there with Smith and brought Radford right along with him.
Yeah, and you got to think, too, under the under the Blackhawk Motorsports team, the top 2 right now are Blackhawk Motorsports. Katie Osmond in second, Brian Snare out front. So you got to think that Osmond's not going to force the issue too much. If Smith's not banging on that back bumper, you got to think he's going to ride right there and log some laps, because we still have plenty of laps to go here at Texas.
And, well, I'd like to say I would agree that it's a teammate. There's nothing really that I need to fight for, as I'm the season champion already. But there again, I'm the season champion already with 2 races to go. I'm gonna prove that I deserve it, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna try to lead every lap that I can, teammate around me, in front of me, behind me, or not. And now it looks like Osmond slowly looking to take a peek on the inside of that 45. Not going to do it just yet, but I don't know, Cody. I'm a good teammate at times, but most of the time, not really.
Yeah, and you got to think, too, if Smith's not applying the pressure, then you got to wonder exactly what is Katie thinking. Well, Snare goes up the racetrack. Katie's going to go to the bottom. Let's see if Smith can capitalize. Snare tries to come down and shut the door. He's not going to be able to do it. Here comes Travis Smith.
And I wonder, too, Cody, if this isn't also more of a team-calculated move as well. Osmond now going to receive a point for leading a lap, so I wonder if that translates over onto the team side as well. So now 2 Black Hawk Motorsports drivers are receiving a point for leading a lap, so that could go to help the team as well in that aspect. Didn't really think about it till it took place. Not quite so sure that's the case, as the 45 of Snare has dropped another spot all the way back to the 3rd position as Travis Smith continues to try to run down Osmond now for the race lead, as your top 3 starting to slowly step away from the 55 of Steve Baker. Rest of the field, Cody, still looks pretty packed up. Back in the back, Zachary Taylor still all over the 98 of Thomas Light.
Yeah, Taylor is right there on the back of the 98. The 52 of Dustin German is in tow there. You was talking a little bit about points and as far as situations goes up front. Brian Snare setting 6th in points coming in, so he's trying to get into the top 5. Of course, Brian was a winner earlier this year, picked up a win at Rockingham, his first career win. He's had some bad luck, but he has had some opportunities for a good run. And right now, I feel like the best track position that 45 has had all season long. It goes right now as he follows Travis Smith into turn 3.
Yeah, and Snare's going to have to do something here, because Travis Smith, I tell you, I can promise you, he's not going to give much room. Once he's up there at the front, he's not the, I don't want to say not the patient driver, but you're going to have to do everything you can. You're going to have to earn the spot and earn the pass. Not going to just roll over and let you have it, even though it is still very early in the night. Working lap number 19 out of the 100 scheduled in the official race distance. But look for Smith to be one of those drivers that may be a little bit Ryan Newman-esque out here for the rest of the race.
Tell you what, Dave, I was looking at time ending and scoring just a minute ago. Shocking to see that coming into this evening, Lance Yancey, 2nd in points here in the Light Electric Company ARCA Menard Next-Gen K&N Series. He is all the way back in 23rd. Not sure if he's having some issues with that 77 car, but mirrored all the way back in 23rd position. Uncharacteristic to see that 77 this far back in a run.
Yeah, and I actually didn't even notice that he was running that far back. Just not accustomed to seeing him back that far on the scoring charts. Running right now, as you said, right now in the 23rd position. Used to seeing him somewhere up inside the top 10, top 5 at times, as we've got a few drivers around him with some connection issues. It looks like maybe Justin Walters and can't quite make out the other driver with a little bit of blinking action going on right now. Michael Massengill in that 4 machine trying to make his way by the 46 of Justin Walters. And it looks like, that 46 is one of the drivers blinking just a little bit down there on that inside lane. So with that being said, let's go back up here to this battle at the front. Katie Osmond, Travis Smith, and Brian Snare still 1, 2, 3. But Steve Baker, he's closed the gap, and he is right there on the rear deck lid of Snare.
Yes, he is, Dave. He has reeled in that 45. Looked like Snare was a little loose off of turn 2. just a moment ago. Got to wonder if maybe those tires are starting to go away. But Steve Baker is getting ready to knock on the door and let the top three know he is there. Travis Smith, though, he has stayed somewhat consistent, only about a car length and a half away from KD's bumper. I feel like he's a lot better in turn 3 and 4 than that 88. As there you see his snare washes way up high out of turn 2.
Yeah, and I wonder, Cody, if that's a product of just you try to float the car off the corner a little bit, try to save the tires some and keep as much speed in it. And sometimes you're floating that car out there and it gets a little bit tighter than what you think it is, and then it gets a little snappy loose there at the end. So look for Osmond to maybe try to readdress the exit line out of 2 that time. There you see him nice and smooth as Smith continues his quest up at the front, trying to run down that 88. And once again, here you see it, Mr. Consistency at the front of the field once again here in the RFC Next Gen Light Electric Company ARCA Menard Series. Katie Osmond has been on it all season long. I don't think anybody else has led more laps.
No, they have not, Dave. Coming in, he had led 436 laps coming into this event. Second closest to him was Troy Radford with 237. So very well could eclipse the 500 laps led in this season. We'll see how that unfolds as the first quarter of this race is in the books out of turn 4. Katie Osmond's going to put lap 26 on the board, Dave, and we are still caution free.
Yeah, still green from the drop of the green flag here tonight from Texas Motor Speedway, and these Light Electric Company RFC Next Gen ARCA Menards K&N Series drivers putting on a show. As you already said, a quarter of the way through tonight's race, and that leaves me wondering how far these drivers can go on fuel, and will we see anybody maybe break this up into a third, as it looks like breaking it down into quarters is kind of out of the picture. And just how many sets of tires do these drivers have? I believe they've only got 2 more sets down there on pit road, so you're gonna have to be smart about how many tires you get and when you get them.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, and I don't see, as far as watching the cars go around the track, I don't see anybody really struggling with handling. So I don't know as far as tire fall off. And really, you look at track times, Katie Osmond's best lap is a 30:29, and as he comes across the line this last time, he has not fell off too much, 2 seconds pretty much. He's run a 32:16 last time, so not too bad as far as tire fall off, but I don't see a lot of sliding around, Dave. You know, we've talked about that a lot this year. These cars, they're a handful, but right now, nobody really looks like they're really fighting their race car.
Yeah, everybody looks like the cars seem to be handling to their liking, or at least in the range of their comfortability. We all know, Cody, you've been in these cars in the turn 3 cutaway car at some of the tracks, and even though you're comfortable, you sometimes can overstep the boundary. So just depending on if you miss your exit or your entry point, can control how the car feels in that particular corner. But for the most part, it looks like all the wiggling and catching of the cars has gone away as the runs have gotten longer here. Lap number 30 in the books already as we're watching the 49 of Troy Radford try to work over the 55 of Baker. That battle was for 4th and 5th on track, and the 22 of Cody Terry and Brendan Medford, they're slowly working their way up into the mix as well. So this may just very well be a 4-car battle here in the next lap or 2.
Yeah, that is a really good run for Cody Terry. We've seen him a couple of times this year. As you see Troy Radford make the move on Steve Baker, he's going to get around him. Something must have happened because Baker was on the back bumper of Brian Snare, and there was a big gap up to that 45 now. But Troy Radford gets around him. And speaking of which, looking just ahead of them, Travis Smith is somewhat faded off the back bumper of Katie Osmond, and Brian Snare's all over him out of turn 2.
Yeah, and I wonder if some of these drivers may have overcooked that right front a little bit. Texas Motor Speedway, you tend to overcook that right front a little bit more than you do the right rear. And especially with this newer configured Texas No Limit Speedway, The entry that you take and the run that you take through 1 and 2 is so much different from the way that you used to enter that corner, that the tire is just put through so much more wear and so much more stress. So I wonder if maybe Smith and Baker being on it so early in the run may have affected their tire wear, and they may be paying the price right now as the 45 of Snare has made the pass, and he's got quite a bit of ways to go up there and try to challenge Katie Osmond, now out to a 2-second race lead over Brian Snare running in second.
Yeah, Steve Baker just drove to pit road, so we'll see if that gets things started. See if crew chiefs start making some calls, as Baker's going to be the first car to hit pit road. And as I say that, Cody Terry jumped up into that 5th spot. He's been having a really good run here today. We'll see if things shake out. Looks like he's going to get some pressure now from Tyler Hilton in that machine there to the bottom.
Yeah, and it looks like we do have a lot of drivers coming to pit road. The 83 of Brandon Medford going to break to pit road. Osmond, Snare, Radford, Medford all to pit road that time by, and it looks like that is almost a Falcon Motorsports or Blackhawk Motorsports little tandem draft going on right there, or tandem pit stop, I should say, not draft, as the 9 of Travis Smith stays out on track. Cody Terry takes over second. Thomas Light now up to third. Zachary Taylor in fourth. And with green flag pit stops underway, that's going to shake up a lot of the field. And, well, we haven't talked about it very much. Pit road entry may be a little bit tricky for some of these drivers on the older tires, getting it slowed down, woed up without spinning and having an issue. So look for the entry of pit road to be a very busy place.
Yeah, looks like so far so good for everybody, but you had to know once Steve Baker went to pit road, I don't think these drivers could have afforded, as now it looks like Travis Smith is going to hang the hard left-hand turn off of turn 4. He's going to get to the apron if he can get slowed down. Looks like he will. So the leader will come to pit road. We'll see things shake back out. It looks like Dustin German will inherit the lead here on lap 36.
Yeah, Dustin German going to take over the race lead as we jump on board now with that 52 as he makes his way through 1 and 2. Justin Walters, Lance Yancey, those two drivers joining him by staying out on track. And going to be interesting to see how all of this shakes out. Looks like Travis Arthur, Katie Osmond, and Brian Snare kind of battling with each other right now, as Travis Arthur, Arthur not coming to pit road just yet, and Dustin German going to come to pit road now. Steve Baker looks to try to close the gap on Brian Snare, as those two drivers have already been to pit road and back up to speed. Katie Osmond will more than likely inherit the race lead once again, as he's got about a 2.5 second gap back from himself to Brian Snare. There you see Osmond right there, that familiar Sun Drop 88 out in front with nobody around. Looking nice and clean, race well in hand.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen that, nor will it probably be the last, but it'll be interesting to see now if KD can stay out that big of a gap in front of his teammate Brian Snare. We know that Brian has had speed in that race car. He was our fastest qualifier, so we'll see if Brian has anything for KD once he gets into open space. It looked like Justin Walters, Eric Blunt, Melvin Young come to pit road, so that's going to give the lead back, this time by Katie Osmond, going to be back out of the point.
Yeah, and I want to look at Travis Smith real quick right here. If timing scoring is not telling me any lies, just staying out that those 2 extra laps there, Cody. Travis stayed on the track 2 extra laps than Katie Osmond did, and he has lost about 3 seconds on track to Osmond. Travis was just under the 3 seconds behind Osmond before that set a green flag pit cycle, and now he finds himself 6.5 seconds behind Katie Osmond. Osmond very quick on and off of pit road, but the fastest crew down there on pit road was that 45 of Brian Snare. So big shout out to his whole crew getting the job done. 14.7 seconds, and as I say that, Brandon Medford 14.35, his pit crew fastest down there actually in the first round of green flag pit stops.
Yeah, it just goes to show you, Dave, once a car gets on pit road, and a little smoke there. KD might have got into that outside retaining wall. I was seeing some smoke on the racetrack now that may be coming may be coming from in front of him. Looks like that may be coming from the Justin Walters machine. It looks like that smoke coming from the tail end of that race car, so something may be going wrong with Justin Walters' car. But Katie Osmond's pit stop, he came to pit road following Steve Baker. Baker's going to end up third. So I feel like once we start seeing these cars go to pit road, you're going to have to make a move. You're going to have to make a decision as we approach halfway.
Yeah, as we get closer and closer to the halfway point, some of these drivers that lurk in the rear of the field, Damon Cox, Gordon Larson Jr., Derek Robinson, Lance Yancey, Michael Massengill, Justin Walters, they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to roll the dice. And even drivers that are much further up through the field than them, Brandon Medford, Travis Smith, 5th and 6th on track right now, but they are sitting, as I already mentioned, over 6 seconds behind your race leader. So they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to make up some ground somewhere as the 6 looks to try to regain his spot on the lead lap. Eric Blount well back in the field from where we're used to seeing him run. So tonight a little mixed bag of tricks. Drivers not usually where they're at, and some drivers exactly where they always are.
Yeah, interesting to see if we do not get a caution, what kind of pit strategy could go into effect. If you're mirrored back right now anywhere between 6th and 15th, for you to have an option if we stay green, you're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to either short pit, you're going to have to strategize something, because right now if we stay green in this, the lead that Katie Osmond has, even over Brian Snare, that's a big enough lead to get to pit road and make a big decision. But I've got that feeling communication between the Blackhawk Motorsports teammates, they will probably be coming on the same lap.
And I'm trying to do the math, and the one thing that we unfortunately don't have the privilege of having, and that is the fuel numbers that these teams truly have here tonight from Texas Motor Speedway to be able to get some true calculations going on with the fuel mileage. But looking at when Katie Osmond pitted 33 on lap 33, just knowledge with that 100 lap race. Okay, if you split it up into 33 laps, he's going to have 2 more pit stops here tonight. If he can save some fuel, he'll still just have 2. So I do believe I think everybody's going to have just 1 more pit stop. It's just a matter of who's willing to risk it for the biscuit and maybe push the envelope on the short pit to gain as much time as possible and end up with as little fuel as possible.
You know, Dave, I was commenting, could Brian Snare run down our leader? And he has done that. Take a look now. He's only 2 car lengths back behind Katie Osmond. He's literally knocking on the back bumper. So he has ran down our points leader. That 45 Victory Junction machine is showing some heavy speed. Last time clicking around the racetrack, I was taking a look at his times. He is 172 mile an hour diving into turn 3 there. So that 45 car has some speed this weekend at Texas.
Yeah, and I wonder if, and not to take away from what Brian Snare's doing right here, running down Katie Osmond, but I wonder if Osmond is laying off the gas just a little bit, and judging from timing and scoring, it does not look like that's the case. So Brian Snare just finding some speed out there tonight. A lot of rubber being laid down here now as we continue green flag racing from Texas Motor Speedway in the Veterans Day Appreciation 100 and the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Company ARCA Menards K&N Series. Gonna cross the line this time to begin lap 48. So a lot of rubber out there on the track, a lot of cars out there on track right now. All the cars still in the race. We've still got 22 out of the 26 that started tonight's race on the lead lap. So still a very long night on our hands, Cody, and our 2 race leaders, they're gonna start working into lap traffic right here, right on the rear of that 47 of Ray Radford.
Yeah, they're on the bumper of Ray Radford. Radford washes up, allows Katie Osmond and Brian Snare to go by. I was looking at our timing and scoring, Dave. I see Thomas Light all the way back to 24th position. Not sure what happened to that 98 machine. He was running inside of the top 10 when we got going earlier in the race. So whether maybe a penalty on pit road or something drastic has happened to that 98 car, but we hate to see that coming into this weekend's race. But top 10 right now, Katie Osmond, Looks like he's out front. It's Brian Snare second, Steve Baker third, Brandon Mefford fourth, Travis Smith fifth, Troy Radford sixth, Cody Terry seventh, Zachary Taylor eighth, Dustin German ninth, and Brian Maskell Jr. rounding out the top 10.
11th, Jimmy Hetrick, Roy Hyde right there in 12th, Tyler Hilton 13th, Doug Wasaki, and Damon Cox round out your top 15, 16th place right now. The 01 of Gordon Larson Jr. Lance Yancey moving up through the field slowly but surely. Now up to 17th, 18th, the 38 of Derek Robinson. Jeffrey Vandervoort, Road Course King, right there running in the 19th spot and rounding out the top 20 here. Back on the lead lap once again, that 6 of Eric Blount. And as we run through your top 20, going to go back here for the battle for the 19th position. That is between Eric Blount and Jeffrey Vandervoort. Blount has about 2 seconds to go up there and grab that spot away. And if he's not careful, he's going to be close to going one lap down once again, as Osmond isn't very far behind.
Now, KD is putting some laps down as we see him come across the line there. His last lap was a 31.69. Make that a 31.67. Brian Snare running a 31.71. So they are moving around this Texas Motor Speedway. Lap 52 of our 100-lap feature. The second to final race of the 2020 RFC Next Gen Light Electric Company ARCA Menards Series. Of course, Dave, next week we wrap it all up in Kansas.
Yeah, gonna wrap everything up in Kansas, but somebody that already wrapped up the season, Katie Osmond, sitting at the front of the field right now, running in the top spot. And once again, looking to go to victory lane. Already going to victory lane 3 times so far this season, looking to make it 4th and looking to stamp his name in the history books. And, oh, caution flag flies here. First caution of the night. We'll see what happened here. Looking through the timing and scoring, looks like Zachary Taylor may have been involved in this one. So we'll try to go back. Try to go back, see what happened here with Taylor.
Yeah, it looks like he was racing Dustin German at the time of that caution flag.
And it looks like we're catching it a little bit late, but there you see Dustin German going by in the foreground. We'll take one more look at it, catching it late once again. And the 28 already going around, sliding through the front stretch. No real contact with anything. He's got to get the thing whipped around and headed back in the right direction. So, a long green flag run to start tonight's race. 54 laps in the book before we come under caution for the first time. Field will make its way back up behind that Chevy Silverado pace truck and look for the possibility of some drivers to maybe come down pit road this time here.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see at least the top 5. Now it looks like we are going to see the top 10 come to pit lane, not victory lane, pit lane. And this will be interesting, Dave. I want to see if Brian Snare's pit crew can get him out front. I feel like if he can get in front of KD, he might be able to lead some laps here.
Well, in order to get to victory lane, they better come to pit lane. That's for sure. Driving by victory lane, too, while on pit lane. I'll continue to do. Oh, and Travis Smith, a little bit too far forward in the box, has to back up. He's going to lose some positions after that slow pit stop. Justin Walters staying out on track. Going to assume the race lead, get a point for leading a lap as Katie Osmond and the rest of the field makes their way off of pit road. And, man, I tell you, already an exciting night. Long green flag run to start tonight's race. We'll have to see if we get another long green flag run here, or will we see that old adage come to fruition of cautions breed cautions. We'll wait and have to see how all that shakes out here. Gonna step away for just a brief commercial break. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Back trackside here at Texas No Limit Speedway for the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Company Arkham Menards K&N Series. This is round number 19. Just one more round to go here in the season. In the man at the front of the field, fourth car back, as we've got a few cars in front of him going to receive the wave around. Katie Osmond has been dominating tonight's race, Cody, and look for him to have a good restart and maybe try to dominate the rest of the laps remaining here. I believe he has led, let's call it a good 80%, if not more.
Yeah, I would say he's at least led 40 of the 57 laps. We've got the guy to his outside has led the majority of the other. I'm going to watch this restart. I got my eye on that 55 Navy machine of Steve Baker. Not really sure what the issue was there a few moments ago. He had made up a lot of ground and caught the front cars and then kind of faded back. So not sure if that was something. Maybe he got a little loose and lost some ground. But let's see if that 55 car can make things interesting. And this puts the 83 of Brandon Medford right back in the mix as well.
Yeah, Brandon Medford able to have a good pit stop and get the gap closed. Gonna restart third, second car inside lane just behind Katie Osmond. So look for that 83 to fire off well. Travis Smith, after blowing through his box there, lost 3 positions and now back running in the 6th position. Third car inside lane to 52 of Dustin German just to his outside as this Chevy Silverado pace truck makes its way down and onto pit road. Green flag flies as Osmond hits the loud pedal and away we go. Once again here at Texas Motor Speedway, out to the good race lead already into turn number 1. Osmond has a 3-car race lead over Snare, now on board with Baker in that 55 as he tries to work his way off of turn 2. Side-by-side battle between Medford and Smith. That's for 4th and 5th.
Yeah, 2 by 2 behind Brian Snare. Baker's going to have the momentum. Looks like he's going to slide down in front of Medford. Not a lot of room there. Smith's going to see the door open on the bottom. He's going to go under that 83 machine. Dave, they're still 2 by 2 going for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yeah, still 2 by 2 going for a ton of different positions on track. More drivers battling right back here. Roy Hyde, Doug Wasaki, Brian Mescal Jr., Troy Radford. What happened to Radford, man? He's fell from grace back there running in just outside of the top 10 after running inside the top 5 just before that first caution.
Yeah, and on the other side of the spectrum, where in the world did Roy Hyde come from? We hadn't talked about him all race long. He finds himself in 8th spot right now, following Cody Terry, Brandon Medford, and Dustin German, that 52 machine. He's crawled up into the 5th spot.
Yeah, up 11 positions from where he started tonight's race. Roy Hyde with a good recovery so far as we've reached just 10 laps past the halfway point. Only 41 laps remaining as we get a good onboard shot now coming off of turn 4 with that 00 of Roy Hyde trying to chase down the 22 of Cody Terry. And another driver that benefited quite handily here, Cody, on that caution was that 77 of Lance Yancey. Lance still off the pace and still back behind the 8 ball, running in the 21st position. There you can see him all alone on the track right now, about 4 seconds to the drivers in front of him, and not quite sure what is going on with that 77 of Lance Yancey, but he is not having the race night that he wanted to have here visiting Texas Motor Speedway. Meanwhile, back at the front, Baker still trying to get to Osmond.
I tell you what, Dave, the show right now is between Travis Smith, Dustin German, Cody Terry, and Brandon Medford. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th on the racetrack. Right now, German and Smith are side by side. German dives that car to the bottom of turn 3. Smith's going to lose possibly 2 positions by the time we come off of turn 4.
And just like that, I mentioned it earlier, a lot of people may not think momentum when they think of Texas Motor Speedway, but this is one of those tracks that when you got to jump out of the gas and you got to stay out of the gas for a brief second, the amount of momentum that you lose translates into a big time handicap when the other drivers are still 5-6 miles an hour faster than you. So Dustin German, Cody Terry, both being able to make the pass, but Travis Smith able to recover nicely, only lose those 2 spots, now back running right where he started at the restart. The green flag on the restart. I'll get it right eventually.
Yeah, we got you. And the guy you mentioned at that restart, Troy Radford, he has started to pick him up and put him down. He is all the way back up to 8. So whatever happened to set him back, he's on a mission to come back up through the field. But I tell you what, top 2 right now, Katie Osmond and Steve Baker. 3 car lengths separate these two as lap 65 goes on the board.
Lap 65 on the board, and we spoke about him earlier, running in the back of the pack. Brian Mescal Jr. and the man right behind him. Yeah, well, about 2 seconds back behind him, the 57 of Damon Cox. Just silent, quiet, slowly, but surely has found his way inside the top 10. Now that 57 looks to try to go up there and grab a few more positions. Great run so far here tonight for Damon Cox and that 57 Miller Lite crew. And, man, I'll tell you what, Cody, there's a ton of little battles going all over the track. I'm going to jump back here. Battle for 16th and 17th. Derek Robinson looking to take the spot away from the 10 of Melvin Young.
Yeah, Melvin Young had been just about back in 23rd, 24th so far in the first half of this race. Starting to move up just a little up to the 16th spot. One of the rookies, of course, just in front of him in the 15th spot, that 48 of Jimmy Hetrick. Jimmy Hetrick has had a really good season for his first year racing here with the RFC Series. Finds himself inside of the top 15 in points. Could very well get into the top 10 before the final race next week at Kansas. But right now, Melvin Young holding fort. Looks like he's going to hold off Derek Robinson for that 16th spot.
And looking through timing and scoring, we're going to jump back to this, man. We highlighted him just a handful of laps ago for Mr. Where Did He Come From? And just like that, way back on the scoring charts, once again, back in the 21st spot, the 00 of Roy Hyde. But looking at the timing and scoring, Cody, sneakily, he's been to pit road for what may be the final time here tonight, hitting pit road on lap 64. And he's been able to keep himself on the lead lap. That is a very key factor here as we continue this, or actually, no, just down one lap. I do apologize, just barely down a lap. So look for that to change. If we get this long green flag run, Roy Hyde may not come back to pit road, and that may just play right into his hands. And, well, right now he's sitting in the lucky dog position as well. So even if we get that caution, Hyde looking to be in a very good spot.
Yeah, and that's kind of sneaky on his part. You know, we've seen Roy go to victory lane already this year. Roy was a big winner at Indianapolis, pretty much fuel mileage that win as well. So Roy has a plan. He's one of the smarter guys in the garage. I'll say that. Of course, big to do with Jekyll Controls. Really good guy, very smart, especially when it comes to working a race car. And right now, we'll see if that's going to pay off as the leaders have crossed the line. Lap 70 on the board out of our 100 to make up the Veterans Day Appreciation 100 presented by Blackhawk Motorsports here at Texas Motor Speedway. It's still Katie Osmond, Steve Baker, Brian Snare, your top 3.
Well, Cody, after you basically said Roy's the smartest and everybody else is dumb, I'm glad you're the one that's getting to walk down pit road here today at the end of this thing and not me, because I'm sure some wrenches are going to be flying your way.
They'll understand where that came from. At least I didn't come out saying he's one of the computer smart guys, because then he might have took that a different way, but he is one of the smarter guys in the garage. And when it comes to figuring out a plan, he's one of the guys that can crunch the numbers. And speaking of crunching, Brian Snare, he is all over the back bumper of Steve Baker out of turn 2 as they try to work around that blue and yellow car of Lance Yancey. Snare washes up high. Thought he was going to make contact with Yancey there for a moment.
Yeah, and crunching the numbers is something that Roy Hyde has done, but what he hasn't done is been able to keep himself in that lucky dog position as the field works their way by that 77 of Lance Yancey. That's going to put him into that lucky dog spot. Roy Hyde still trying to go up there and re-grab that position. And Zachary Taylor, he brings his 28 machine to pit road this time by, so drivers beginning to notice that the fuel window has opened up, and how long will they stay out there on track? How much time are they willing to give up? And how how dry are they willing to really run these tanks here and stay on pit road when they do have to come. That's all part of the strategy as we continue green flag racing here. Lap 74 out of the 100 scheduled in the official race distance. And just one attempt at a green-white checkered, Cody. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It looks like this thing may go green to the end, though.
It is looking that way, but I tell you what, we've got our top three that have kind of spread out from the field, but Brandon Medford and Travis Smith are just simply having a shootout for 4th and 5th, and it looks like here's our first leader on pit road. Steve Baker brings that white 55 Navy machine to pit road, Dave. He was the first one to kind of start pit stops last time around. We'll see if that starts anything. Oh, and Medford and Smith make contact. Smith almost lost that race car in turn 2, but he hangs on.
Yeah, but a very close battle there through 1 and 2 that last time by between the 9 of Travis Smith and the 83 of Brandon Medford. Slide contact on the left front and the right rear of Smith and Medford. Both of those drivers able to keep the cars heading in the right direction, thankfully, as we've now hit the 25 laps remaining mark, and that has opened up the fuel window for a lot of drivers. Troy Radford, Doug Wasaki, Gordon Larson Jr., all coming to pit road. Jeffrey Vandervoort and his 72 machine bringing it down pit lane as well. So those green flag pit cycles, Cody, they have begun. And when they happen at this point in a race, in the late stages of a race, if we get that caution right in the middle, it is really going to mix things up.
Yeah, it is, and I'm looking at that leaderboard right now. Katie Osmond, Brian Snare, now Travis Smith, Brandon Medford, and Cody Terry, your top 5. Dustin German's right there as well. You got to be thinking as we take a look at the pit strategy, 22 laps on all of our top 8 drivers right now, 28. Oh, and Katie Osmond's making the hard left turn. He is bringing Brian Snare to pit road with him. Top 2, now make it Brandon Medford. 3 of our top 6 on pit road.
And that's going to keep the 9 of Travis Smith out on the track and out in front of the field for the race lead. Has the 22 of Cody Terry, Dustin German, Brian Mescal Jr., and Damon Cox still in tow. Jimmy Hetrick, Melvin Young, and Derek Robinson yet to hit pit road. So Osmond, Snare, Medford, and Massengill to pit road that last time by. Eric Blount has yet to come to pit road too. But somebody I'm keeping my eye on, the man right here, the 00 of Roy Hyde, sitting in front of Steve Baker right now by 2 seconds. And I don't believe Roy Hyde's going to come back to pit road. So when this green flag pit cycle is all said and done with, look for this 00 to possibly inherit the race lead as he's been able to pass Osmond and Snare also during this green flag pit cycle. So maybe, just maybe, Roy Hyde pulls this off as Damon Cox and Jimmy Hetrick both hit pit road that time by.
Yeah, Roy's got about a 1-second advantage over Steve Baker, and I think, well, he doesn't anymore. That is closing quickly. Steve Baker is all over the back bumper of Roy Hyde. Baker's going to go to the bottom. Looks like he's going to make the pass. So put Steve Baker in the driver's seat. Let's see if Roy kind of saves a little bit here over the next little bit. But right now, Steve Baker has plenty of fuel, and he's got 21 laps to go, and he has picked up the pace, Dave.
Yeah, and I think just the difference in the tires is what you're seeing right there. 10-lap difference in the tires between, big moment there, between Dustin German and Steve Baker as Cody Terry was coming to pit road. That could have ended very bad for Baker as he has pretty much assumed the race lead once everybody else comes back down to pit road. And just 10 laps difference on the tires, and there you see what a difference it made as Baker just drove up and right around that 00 of Roy Hyde as Hyde continues to try to stay out and possibly walk away with a podium spot here with just 20 laps remaining. Baker works his way off of turn number 4 back across the stripe. 19 laps to go here tonight. And the Veterans Day Appreciation 100 presented to you by Black Hawk Motorsports, live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Cody, goodness, what a race night it's been.
Yeah, what a race night it's been. And you were talking about those tires. Huge difference as Katie Osmond and Brian Snare just whipped around Roy Hyde. So interesting to see if Roy just hangs on to what he's got right now. He's about to lose another spot because Troy Radford right there in that white car is starting to reel him in, and he's going to come and maybe even get around him before they exit turn 2. So Roy Hyde, it was a great idea, Dave, but it looks like he's going to pay the price not coming to pit road and not waiting, because those tires right now are costing that 0-0.
Yeah, and at this point in time, this late in the run, if we do get a caution at this point, yes, it's going to somewhat save that 0-0, going to get a little bit of track position out of it, but I don't think a caution is still going to help that 0-0 very much, because I think everybody that's in front of them is going to come down pit road anyway for the final run to the end on some fresh good years. So unfortunately, just not playing out the way the 0-0 crew chief had planned it, as middle 3 wide right now. Roy Hyde dropping like a rock as Medford and Blount try to make their way by. Dustin German right there as well. My goodness, hate to say it, but Roy Hyde's almost a moving roadblock at this point in time in the run.
Yeah, and I'm looking at something, Dave, on our stats we've got on us. Dustin German and Melvin Young are the top 2 right now. They run 1 and 2 on the racetrack, and I've got the pit stop strategy up, and Dustin German has 30 laps on his tires. He's ran 30 laps this last go, and Melvin Young is at 29 laps, so not sure if they can make it the rest of the way, but Dustin German and Melvin Young have a pretty good gap back to Steve Baker. So interesting to see what is the game plan between these top 2, because they have simply stayed out. And right now, looking at lap times, Dustin German's last lap was a 32.46. He's just 2 seconds off of Steve Baker and Katie Osmond. So interesting to see what that 52 Valvoline machine does here on this long run.
Yeah, and watching that 52 at the front of the field right now, sitting 15th or 14 and a half seconds, I should say, in front of that 10 of Melvin Young, about 21 seconds back to Steve Baker. He's got himself quite a buffer zone, and I think what he's doing right here looks like he's staying in the draft of the drivers in front of him, trying to not use as much gas as possible, fuel saving at the utmost right now. And if that 52 can make it, a total of what will it be, about 46 laps on the tires? That is going to be asking a lot, man. That is going to be pretty, I don't know.
That was pretty good math on the fly. I'll give you that.
If it was right, that's awesome. If not, I guessed.
Well, it was pretty good because it was right at the time. It's been off a lap since then, but I'll give you the credit for it. But yeah, just kind of a sneaky situation. He does have that 14-second gap to Melvin Young. It's 19 seconds back to Steve Baker. So that's roughly about, I would say, a straightaway and a full turn. So let's see what this 52 car does do. Doesn't look like he's having a lot of trouble as far as moving around. The car's not slipping and sliding on him. So interesting enough is, by the way, Katie Osmond has now gotten around Steve Baker for 3rd. So he will be the man trying to run these top 2 down.
Yeah, now Osmond with about 3 lap fresher tires than Baker. So again, just that little bit of a difference in the tires makes that big of a difference later on in the run, as Osmond is just walking away now from Baker back into the 3rd position. And I wonder just how long it's going to take him to get up there and battle for the next spot, because Melvin Young, there you see him just going through 3 and 4. Osmond now entering 3 and 4, so not very much time for Melvin Young to keep himself in that 2nd position, because once Osmond gets there, it is going to open the floodgates. Baker, Snare, Radford going to be right there as well. But can Dustin German pull the biggest okey doke of the season? Last time coming to pit road on lap 54. He continues to lead this field right here, running in this pack of cars. Just 14 drivers remain on the lead lap as we've got the 10 to go. Cody and Dustin German, he's got 16 and a half seconds back to the man with the fresh tires, Osmond. So I don't know, man. Doing the math right now, running it through my head, if he continues the 2 seconds off the pace, Osmond may be there right as we get the 1 to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But, it doesn't look like Dustin is forcing that car. By the way, Melvin Young has came to pit road, so that 10 GoDaddy machine is on pit road now to get some work done and probably get some more fuel. But I'm looking at it and I'm watching it. They are almost a half a track apart right now if you look at it on the track as they speak. German's going down the back straightaway in front of the Jumbotron, and then you've got KD crossing over the stripes. So here's the thing, 9 laps to go. Does German have enough fuel to get there? And does KD have enough tires? If he starts forcing, oh, and here comes German. German is coming to pit road. So Dave, just throw all that away.
And just like that, never mind. None of it matters. Dustin German on to pit road. Katie Osmond will reassume the race lead, and Brian Snare gonna be right there in second. Once again, Steve Baker has fallen back from just behind Osmond, back now to the third spot. And Troy Radford, what a recovery here tonight. There you see him, driver of that 49 machine, now up to the fourth spot. But Brandon Medford looking to the inside, and Travis Smith in the 9 right there as well. But still, no matter how this shakes out right here, even if Radford goes and loses that spot to Smith, as he just has halfway down the backstretch, big time recovery out of Radford after being well back in the field, now being shown in the 6th position.
Yeah, and you mentioned Smith and Medford. Man, they have been like magnets. They are going at it again for 4th and 5th. This might have been the most exciting race on the racetrack so far. Back and forth, swapping positions every single lap almost. And that 9 car just got the best of him coming out of turn 4, and now we'll see if Medford can go back and repay the favor as they enter turn 3 once again, but they have now only 7 laps to go.
6 laps remaining actually to go this time by, as Osmond heads off into, I believe, the backstretch, working his way off of turn 2 actually this time by, sitting pretty about 1 second in front of Brian Snare. Steve Baker 3 seconds back, another 1.5 seconds back to Travis Smith and Brandon Medford. We'll go back to that battle, as it's one of the closest on the track right now, and it has been, as you already said, Cody, that's been one of the closest battles all night long. Smith and Medford, man, they've been glued to each other, whether it's prior or post green flag pit stops. So there may be some heated discussion between these two drivers at the end of this thing down on pit road.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but right now Smith has gapped that 83 of Brandon Medford, so it looks like Travis Smith may be on his way to a top 5 finish. But in the meantime, our current points leader, and Dave, I think it's safe to say our 2020 RFC Next Gen ARCA Menards Light Electric Company Series champion, KD Osmond, continues to show the way, approaching what will be his crazy 4th win of the season. Crazy to think that, but right now he has plenty of an advantage over 2nd place Brian Snare, and you got to be pleased with that 45 and winning the pole tonight and staying pretty much in the top 3 all race long.
Yeah, and I'd say pretty surprisingly able to dominate the way he has here tonight. That 88 of KD Osmond hasn't looked back once he has attained the race lead, and that's something that he's pretty much done in his other 4 race wins. Once he gets out there, he dominates and stays out front. Now looking to continue that. And, it's safe to say, as you already said, season champion. He's already got that locked up without a shadow of a doubt. But can he win a 4th and then a 5th? No driver has been able to win 5 races in one season here in the RFC Next Gen Light Electric Company ARCA Menards Series ever. So in order for him to get that job done, he's going to have to be on it. And right now, popsicle sticks for Osmond. One more lap after this, and he'll be just 1 win away from completing this historic season.
Yeah, what a season it has been. The driver out of Hendon, Virginia, driving that Sundrop 88 machine, one of the most noticeable cars we've seen on the racetrack all year, came into tonight leading the points. Take a look at his season. 16 starts, 15 top 10s, 13 top 5s, 3 wins. And Dave, for the final time, he's going to go down the back straightaway here at Texas Motor Speedway.
For the final time and through 1 and 2, back down the back stretch. Now that 88 Sundrop Light Electric Company, Arkham Menards K&N Series machine looking pretty. Not a bent fender one on it, and he's looking to walk to victory lane once again. Now 4 wins on the season for Katie Osmond as he takes the checkered flag here tonight in the Veterans Day Appreciation 100 presented to you by Blackhawk Motorsports from Texas No Limit Speedway. My goodness, another great one in the book. Brian Snare gonna walk away in second, and Travis Smith, after getting the fresh tires, runs down Brandon Medford to finish just inside our final podium spot.
Yeah, what a run for that 9 machine. I was taking a look. Something must have happened to Steve Baker. He was in third for the longest time. I don't know what happened to that 55 machine. It looks like he's going to be scored in 12th, so not sure if he had some trouble. But, Dave, he has been the man of the year. We wondered where he was in the first part of the year because it took a long time for him to go to victory lane at Daytona. He did so at the halfway point, and since then, he has been on point.
That he has, and, man, I don't know how you can be that consistent and that on point week in and week out. We haven't really seen him in any trouble all year long. So just again, continuing greatness here this season. Your race winner, the 88 of Katie Osmond. He's going to celebrate just a little bit here right on the front stretch in front of you. And as he continues to celebrate and cool on down, we're going to step away from the trackside, get things set for your post-race interviews. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Backtrack side for your post-race interviews after tonight's Veterans Day Appreciation 100 presented to you by Blackhawk Motorsports. Man, oh man, what a race, what a show it was. Finally being able to catch up with the driver walking away in the third spot here tonight. finishing in that final podium spot, driver of that number 9 machine, Travis Smith. How you doing, bro?
What's up, guys? How are y'all?
Always busy, always on the mic, always on the go. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good.
A heck of a race for you out there. Started in third, fell back through the field, drove back up there at the end. Fuel strategy, tire strategy, what was going on?
It's a tire battle, man. Everybody, I think, was decent on fuel. I don't think fuel was a problem. You just kind of ran it out and used your tires up according to your fuel run there. Tires went away way before the fuel did. But, yeah, I couldn't really make my mind up if I wanted to run it out because both times the first time I pitted, I had 4 laps to go. The second time, I could have ran another 15. But then I would only have 5 on freshies. So, was just put in a box there. And I tried to go 4 laps more and try to make it up and made it up. If there had been a caution, we'd been sitting good, but didn't have enough time to run those top 2 down.
Well, Travis, not one of the regular drivers is how I'll word it. You're spotted, speckled in the race season. Do you think that alleviates the pressure on you from not having to win as much? You can just kind of show up, and the way the race goes, the way it is the way it is.
Definitely helps not having any pressure, and then it definitely hurts because I don't run these cars unless we're here on Sunday nights. So I don't even look at them other than that. So just jumping in here, I think this is my 3rd or 4th race in a row putting races together. So, I mean, the more we get used to the cars and the tires and the new model and the damage and all that stuff, maybe, I know we're not coming back to this car, but, maybe the last run next week it might pay off.
All right, my man. Well, we'll look forward to catching up with you at Kansas next week. But before we let you go and enjoy the 3rd place here tonight, would you like to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous on the front of that Dodge?
Yeah, love the family for letting me do this. 946 Designs. You need a cool splash on the side of that thing, holler at me, and Justin will get you set up. You and Cody do a great job up there. Can't wait to go back and watch these races of y'all two up there. And 30 Air Motorsports, Mason Dixon, Justin Walters for all the help he gives me. And that's it.
All right, well, there you have it. Some final words from the driver finishing in 3rd here tonight. Final spot on the podium, the driver of that number 9 machine, Travis Smith, as he goes and parks by Katie Osmond for just a brief moment, showing him a little bit of love, showing some congratulations, as I do believe that, Cody, I think you've had a chance to catch up down there on pit road with the driver finishing in 2nd.
Yeah, Dave, I do. I've got Brian Snare with me. Brian coming in. What a run for this Victory Junction number 45 Blackhawk Motorsports machine. Coming into this race, Brian, I felt like you've had some really good runs this year. You got a win, your first career series win at Rockingham earlier this year. You've had some really good runs. You've had a lot of ups and downs, but man, you roll out first time to set this 45 on the pole, and you end up pretty much staying in the top 3 all night long.
Yes, sir. It was a great night. Had a really good Victory Junction, Ohio, Indiana roofing Chevrolet. Pretty dominant night for Blackhawk Motorsports.
Well, Brian, we've said this last name, Snare, a lot here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, including Mitchell. He picked up a good win in the Throwback Series earlier this year. This program has really came into its own over the last few months.
Yes, sir, for sure. We couldn't be more appreciative of our opportunity to race with these guys, class act guys, great competition. We really enjoy it, and I'm so grateful for how welcoming they have been to Mitchell as well.
Well, you got a really good cause on this race car. Before I let you go, tell us about the folks on this car.
Well, number one is Ohio and Indiana Roofing. I'd like to give a major shout out to them and thank them, and then Victory Junction, obviously. And I'd also like to give a shout out to the Blackhawk Motorsports team. They've helped me so much. This is my first year in iRacing, and Dustin Ping is feeling a little under the weather tonight. He couldn't race with us. I hope he gets to feel better soon.
Well, congratulations, Brian Snare, 2nd place overall, Dave. What a great race. What a great, just a great season he's had from time to time this year.
Yeah, a great way to finish off a great beginning of the night for the driver of that 45 machine. Snare started right there at the front of the field, ran there pretty much the entire night, and was able to put it all together and walk away with a great race finish. And, well, Cody, I think that's given us all enough time to get the man of the hour, already your season champion, but still adding to the win column here tonight. Your race winner, the 88, Katie Osmond. How you doing? How you feeling?
Oh man, how else do you feel after Red? I mean, I'm feeling great.
Well, I mean, I don't know since, I haven't won a race in forever. You're now in the books this season with 4 race wins. Do you think you can make it 5?
Man, I really hope so. I struggle at Kansas, but, you know, season's finale last year, I think I had a good car. I just screwed up a couple times. You know, I'll have to have a really clean race, but, you know, I might be able to do it. It would be awesome if I could.
You know, I'm going to call you out and call you a liar on that one. I don't think our season champion is allowed to even have a ticket on the struggle bus. I don't think they even hand them out to you.
No, they don't. I can give myself one, though.
I hear you, man. Great race. You started towards the front of the field. Once you got the race lead, you pretty much never looked back, only gave up the race lead for some green flag pit cycles. Did the car feel just that good all night long?
Yeah, I mean, the car was awesome. Just how I like it, you know. It was wanting to spin loose every corner pretty much. And, you know, that's how I like to race my cars. So, you know, this one definitely fit right into my wheelhouse, and I was able to take advantage of that.
Well, Katie, as always, it was a pleasure watching you all night long out here tonight. Look forward to seeing if you can write some more history next week when we head to Kansas and secure that 5th win of the season. But before I let you go, would you want to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love you, thank anybody else on the side of that car?
Yeah, definitely. My sponsor, Ohio Indian Roofing Company. You know, I've got to give a huge shout-out to Brian Snare. You know, he came home with the pole, and then he had an absolutely perfect race. I mean, flawless, and he came out with a 2nd. You know, watching him improve over these last couple of months, it's just been awesome to see. And, you know, a Blackhawk 1-2 finish there is awesome also. You know, thank my family for watching, and thank you guys for broadcasting, and, you know, everyone in this league. I think we had a 28 car field tonight, and for, you know, 2nd to last race, that's just an awesome turnout. And with 1 caution too, you know, you just can't beat that.
All right, my man. Well, go enjoy this win, and we'll look to see if you can't keep that trend up next week at Kansas. Good luck. Great season. Man, it's been a pleasure.
Yep, thank you.
All right, Cody, man, I tell you what, Katie Osmond, humble and, you know, a driver at his point, or his level, I should say. You know, they could have took the opportunity right there to, I don't want to say smear it, but rub it in, really, and Osmond taking the high road right there. That shows you just the amount of character that he has. So, what a fitting champion.
Oh yes, by far, Dave. He has probably the utmost respect for every competitor he races, and it shows. I feel like each time we talk to a driver after the race, if KD's in the top 3 or he's part of it, each and every driver has all good words to say for that 88 machine. I love that whole deal. I'm going to race you how you race me, and I feel like as long as you race him clean, he will give you the benefit of the doubt, or he will give you all the room in the world you need to race.
Yeah, and that's the case for the majority of the drivers out there. Most of the drivers out there giving plenty of room when it comes to the racetrack. At times, you know, just like in real life, you just can't give the space that some people want, and you know that causes issues from time to time. But you know, that's just good old-fashioned racing, and if that wasn't a part of it, why would we be doing it? So yeah, I mean that's just the way it is. Race number 19, not disappointing one bit. Just one race left, Cody, and with the music starting in the background, looks like we've got to run down some official race business here. Tonight's unofficial race results look a little something like this. Walking away with the race win, the 88 of Katie Osmond. Finishing in a close second right there, your pole sitter for tonight's Veterans Day Appreciation 100. The 45 of Brian Snare finishing out your podium positions here tonight. The 9 of Travis Smith. Brandon Medford gonna finish in 4th. 5th will go to Cody Terry. 6th, Troy Radford. Brian Maskill Jr. finishing in 7th. 8th place goes to the 57 of Damon Cox. Doug Lasaki right there in 9th. And rounding out your top 10, the 28 of Zachary Taylor.
Just outside of the top 10, the 48 of Jimmy Hetrick comes home 11th. Steve Baker with some trouble late rounds out 12th. 13th goes to Michael Mason-Gill, a good top 15 for him. Roy Heights 00 14th. Derek Robinson in that 38 car rounds out the top 15. 16th goes to the 72 of Jeffrey Vandervoort. 17th to Gordon Larson Jr. 18th to Eric Blunt in that 6 car. Melvin Young, a good top 20 for him, comes home 19th. And Thomas Light in his 98 car. Early problems in that 98 puts the Light Electric Company machine in the 20th spot.
And walking into tonight's race, second in the points, the 77 of Lance Yancey, not going the way he wanted it to. Finds himself first car 2 laps off of the race leader, finishing in the 21st spot. Dustin German, after leading there close to the end of the race, 52 gonna slot home in the 22nd spot. The 82 of Tyler Hilton will come home in 23rd. 24th to the 86 of Travis Arthur. Justin Walters gonna finish out in 25th. Ray Radford in 26th, then finishing 27th and 28th. 100 laps down after not being able to start tonight's race. Kendall Levron, Dustin Ping, as well as Mark Byers, all having mechanical issues, not being able to get the cars fired up and onto the track for the grid or during the race. So tough break for all of those 3 teams. And Cody, after tonight's race, Black Hawk Motorsports looks to move up in the team point standings, so we'll have to keep our eye on that one. It's going to come down to the last race at Kansas to find out who your team champion will be. And, well, I can't wait till then. Man, Cody, it's been a pleasure here tonight and all season long. And look forward to catching up some more with you next week at Kansas.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. If you liked racing here at Texas, you're going to love it at Kansas. Another fast racetrack, multiple groove racetrack. Should be a lot of fun to close out the season.
Absolutely. And well, with that being said, race fans, stay safe, stay loved. Till the next time, we'll meet you in turn 3.